Hey YouTube, this is Ben Yessel. We have a new tenant here, so I'm going to try to not speak very loudly. And I might change when I'm doing YouTube videos, that sort of thing. Maybe do more YouTube videos when I'm out and about, walking around. It just depends on some things, but anyway, different room. So, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I wanted to go over a little bit regarding my big grocery trip and why I picked the foods I picked. A bit more in detail. I was gonna do a bigger video on some things regarding impact of foods on health, but I think I've covered that fairly well in the past. So I think in order to do this a bit more succinctly, I think I'll go over at least the things that I just bought this time, and maybe just do that in future videos, and you guys get something out of it more. So I got a bunch of different frozen vegetables. Let's start with that stuff. I got organic corn as one of those vegetables. Why did I get organic corn? Isn't corn, even if it's organic, still, it might have pesticides, or it might still be semi-GMO. You hear these things, corn, soybeans, that sort of thing. Just don't get them, right? Well, it's true that if you get something organic, there's still a teensy bit of stuff that might not be so good for you still. But what's the alternative? I know, so whatever organic corn has that isn't, it's just blown over from another field that had regular corn, let's say. Whatever it is, it's very minuscule. I wouldn't even think it's worth bothering. We definitely want to get organic corn. If you get conventional corn, there's no telling what is going on with that stuff. So. But I got it because corn is more filling, and it's a carb, and it tastes good, and it is good for you. It's not amazing for you, but it's good for you. And I don't have very many grains that are carbs. Anyway, so corn is sometimes my starch. That could pass for a grain or a vegetable. Okay, so I also got broccoli. It doesn't take any explanation, of course, regarding why I would buy broccoli. Of course, it isn't about the taste, it's about the nutrition. And broccoli is extremely healthy, and it's palatable. Whenever I make broccoli, whenever I cook it on pan, I always put herbs on it. You always put herbs in your vegetables, unless, with very few exceptions. Because herbs taste good, vegetables are kind of plain. So you flavor them up with herbs, because herbs, to me, seem to be very well paired with vegetables. Of course, if you have stronger vegetables like onions, they could be paired with spices, for instance. So, as in the case with Indian cuisine. So, I also got some green beans, similar deal with, broccoli, but, I also got some kale, it's very healthy. And it's frozen. All this stuff is frozen. If I buy it fresh, it's so tempting to just let it rot in the fridge, because it's just not very tasty. So you get it frozen. We got spinach, similar deal. It's very healthy, very, very healthy. Swiss chard. I got Swiss chard fresh. I'm gonna have to get to that one. But Swiss chard, the colors on it were so. I was just like, oh yeah, it's extremely healthy. So I also got some grape juice, and grape juice, it's juice, so it's still not quite in the range of super healthy, but it was organic, and I got apple juice, grape juice, and some frozen cranberry juice, and some limeade. So that's a little bit more than maybe I should buy, but it wasn't too much. For me, it's kind of like a dessert drink. I realize it can be very sugary, so it can spike your blood sugar a bit. But, it's fine if you don't have it all the time, I think. Okay, so then I also got some dark chocolate, and you guys know about chocolate. It has nutrients like other food. The darker it is, the more nutritious it is. And of course, if you get pure cocoa beans, it doesn't have any sugar, so it's anyway, different. So, I imagine there's probably some other vegetables. So I got frozen Swiss chard, of course, and something else. I think that was most of the types. I got some. Let's see, some tarragon, leaf tarragon. Very, very cheap, actually. For it's just literally, who gets a pound of tarragon? I got it kind of in the bulk section. It's only 83 cents. I just don't. It's very light. Leaf tarragon. Apples, no brainer. I usually get Honeycrisp. I realized, well, since Honeycrisp tastes the best, and I'm gonna just go for it. Some other apples, the apples are easier to forget about when they're not super tasty. So, Honeycrisp are expensive, but they are, I think, worth it. I only got 2 avocados. The avocados at PCC were quite ripe, to the point of I just was like, I'm not going to get these avocados right now too much. I'm just going to get 2 of them. They don't need to be ripened, Anyway, but avocados are extremely healthy. Bananas, got some for the whole house. I got a lot of carrots. All these things, of course, very nutritious. Carrots can be easy to let sit, but I'm trying to do that this time. I always get celery. And, that's kind of a no-brainer. Sorry, let's see here. I got some organic cilantro. And I've noticed, if you use cilantro in salads, it just makes it come alive. These fresh herbs and stuff. It's one of the secrets of making a really good salad, by the way, is adding more fresh herbs and lime juice and things. A lot of things you can do to spruce up salads. Some collard greens, fresh. Let's get into those really quick. Some lemons, lettuce, limes, all this stuff is really healthy stuff, Onions, oranges. So a lot of this food, it's produce stuff, isn't really super filling, but it is, I'm talking about trying to get, 5 fruits and vegetables a day at least, that kind of stuff. This is not hard at all. You get this much variety. You just have to get the more perishable ones first down the hatch, kind of thing. So, some raisins, tangerines, extremely good, and all that stuff. So most of the stuff, a lot of the stuff, not super calorie dense, but fruits being a bit more. But avocados, but you gotta eat your greens. So getting into meat here a little bit. Rockfish and salmon are known to be very healthy. Got some chicken. You got a little bit of crab cake. It's expensive stuff, but it's really, really good. So we got 3 things of beef, and that were high quality beef. Not 100% grass fed, but very close to it, I think. And 4 grass fed lambs. I'm still, for the rest of my life, I'm not going to buy pork or bacon. But if others make it for me, I'll eat it. Other than the chocolate, no candy. Other than the corn, no grains. And no dairy here either. And I didn't need beans this time because I got a lot of beans last time. A lot of beans. I didn't buy any nuts, so I still have nuts from earlier stuff. And yep, I mean, it was a successful shopping trip, I think. It was expensive a little bit, but it wasn't too expensive. I mean, it wasn't crazy expensive. That's kind of the train of thought here. I also, a few more things about this. I try to have the majority of what I buy on the World's Healthiest Foods website, 100 Healthiest Foods. Majority of what I buy, because if I stick to stuff that's whole natural foods on that website, and there's certainly other foods that are still most whole natural foods I'll buy, but if I just stick to that stuff and minimize the other stuff, minimize juice, minimize the other stuff, then someone's mentioned I do look healthier. I am feeling healthier these days. You're healthier when you eat most or all of your diet coming from whole natural foods. If you eat a lot of microwavable foods and eat a lot of processed food, right? It's processed food that's worse than super greasy meats and dairy. Because super greasy, fatty meats and dairy, we know like corn-fed stuff and the hormones and everything is not good for you, right? But processed food is processed. And who knows, it's when you change something from its natural state to something different, the more that you process something, the less it's just the further removed it is from the way nature intended us to eat foods. And, there's more stuff in there that might not be so amazing for us. It might be neutral to not so good. When you take supplements, like vitamins and minerals, supplements and things, you're assuming that all that stuff will be absorbed by the body. Maybe some of it, but some of it won't. The body will only absorb so much. And so, it's something to think about it when you're buying expensive supplements, but it's good to still do supplements because you do want to have all of your nutrients taken care of, whatever isn't included in your diet. And it's very difficult to know if you're getting everything sometimes. We do our best, but it's hard to know that you're getting everything you need. But when you add nutrients to processed food, it's kind of like you're combining a supplement with this leftover product from foods or food that was once nutritious, but now it's, who knows, So processed food can save time. It's convenient, sure. And I guess it just comes down to how often you eat something like that. If it's every day, it just depends on how much you eat of it. And it also depends on if you have produce with your processed entree. Your steak and potatoes or lasagna or macaroni and cheese. But macaroni and cheese is processed. If you actually make the noodles yourself, you actually get 100% stone ground whole wheat. Wheat. Right, take the wheat kernels and you actually make the pasta straight from the wheat. You know, you make it yourself, you know exactly what you're doing. And then you take the cheese, it's grass-fed from the cow, which that's never the case with mac and cheese. It's all conventional stuff, right? You make your own cheese sauce from that. You can combine the two together. Well, heck, I mean, I don't know if you want whole wheat pasta with cheese, but hey, you know, more power to you if that's the way you want your mac and cheese. I don't eat mac and cheese myself, of course, but nobody eats mac and cheese that way. Maybe if you're Italian, but I don't know if Italians, I don't know. I don't know if they do just 100% whole wheat. I think they make it at least a bit white. You know, having whole wheat, 100% stone ground whole wheat, that's a lot more nutty. That's a lot more protein tasting rather than the carb, the smoother white carb that goes well with cheese. You can always have nuts and cheese together, but you have to get used to that combination. Going on about this a bit, but it's just, you know, it's just, I don't think it's worth it. It's not worth your health to spend less money on processed junk. I'm not saying lasagna or Salisbury steak and frozen vegetables with that. I'm not saying it's junk. I'm saying it's junkier. And when you make stuff, I mean, look, I'm subscribed to a channel that talks just about stuff from the Dollar Tree and just stuff you find in frozen food aisles. And he has an amazing channel. It's the Wolf Pit. It's amazing. I think it's great. He's such an awesome guy. I mean, he really is an awesome guy. He always is showing everybody how to save a buck or two. And I think there's a lot of processed stuff that actually is great to have a few times a week. Sure, absolutely, it saves you time. Maybe even more than a few times a week, depending on what you're talking about. But like chili is very healthy for you. Have a lot of beans. The meat is, you know, okay. It's protein though, and the peppers are good for you. The onions are good for you to have any of that in there. Beans are obviously good for you. And if you get the right kind of chili, you can minimize your other stuff that isn't so great. And there's stuff that, there's all kinds of stuff that's more processed. You know, it's definitely far from junk food, but it just, you know, it's a question of what's more dominant in your diet, right? If you're really tired and you don't want to cook anything, isn't it nice to have something like hummus in your fridge? Or make a salad. Or, if you're really hungry, get some of that, well, hungrier, get some of that tuna in the can. Maybe you have some tartar sauce to put in there. Just eat the tuna straight out of the can. Or grab an avocado if you have one. Just eat that down with a spoon. Or, you know, I found that cooking a steak is not very, I mean, if it's a grass-fed steak, it's not a really big steak. Or it's, you know, like a tri-tip steak. It just doesn't take long at all. You just clean up afterwards, really easy. No worries. Potatoes can be more involved. But not eggs. Eggs, it may stick to the pan a little bit, but cook those up really quick. Beans are a big thing. You know, you can't take, it takes some advanced planning. You know, lentils, not so much. And nuts are extremely good for just, I don't want to do, you know, like avocado, just a few handfuls, you're good. If you want to soak them overnight, cool, but, you know. Fish is also fish is like beef, or grass-fed beef. It's just done quick, unless you have a huge fillet, but most of the time we don't do that. Poultry always takes longer, generally speaking, depending on what you got, but just depends on the thickness of the meat. But when you see, so a lot of times what we're looking for is convenience, in addition to how cheap something is. And is it filling? Is it nutritious? All that stuff. But there's a lot of things that are both whole natural foods and things that are processed, that aren't too processed, that are also reasonably priced, that we should go for, I think, instead of always going for Stouffer's, or like the pot pie, or the chicken nuggets, or the spaghetti and meatballs, or the, I don't know, the frozen food stuff, right? No, I'm also a fan of chimichangas. Did you know today I had a chimichanga, one of my favorite chimichanga places, a food truck, and I forgot to tell them I didn't want cheese, and they put cheese on it, and I'm like, ugh. So, I think maybe it's just time to maybe get a few smaller things there, or just sometimes you just need to change it up. Next time I go shopping, it's going to be different. Every time it's different, and I think, it's reasonable to say that many of us have on our shopping lists, we probably have something like, many of us, bread, milk, eggs, potatoes, apples, peanut butter. It's, yes, I'm talking about the healthier version of the standard American diet. It's crosses over somewhat times with England a little bit, in some respects, but, or whatever, Europe, but it's just, you don't really need dairy, I don't think. Grass-fed butter is nice to cook with, but you just don't need it. And you don't need glutinous grains. I think there was a time when wheat was healthier. I don't know. I'm not saying it's terrible for you, but there are a lot of doctors who are saying it's just not that great for you. Something having to do with your small intestine, like leaky gut and stuff. Dairy is a little weird because, I don't know, other reasons. It's the quality of the dairy that you get. So if you get high quality dairy, it's rather expensive, like meat, but dairy it's just, I don't know. I can't really, it's kind of later, and I can't think of all the science right now, but, yeah, I don't know. If you do consume dairy, it should not be very much at all. If you consume, like me, animal foods like chicken and beef and fish, I think a general rule of thumb is that the simpler the life form that was alive before you was killed to eat, the simpler the life form, with some exception, with certain exceptions, of course, and the healthier the animal was when it was alive. So the simpler and the healthier, with the exception of many kinds of, like, nobody eats mosquitoes, but simpler life forms and healthier life forms are going to be better for your body than more complex life forms and a more unhealthy versions of those life forms. So obviously we're talking about a cow that's been fed stuff with hormones and candy and all kinds of stuff that make it really fat and, whatever, unhealthy. It's that cow. You don't want to eat that cow's meat. It might be government subsidized or whatever, all that stuff, but it's, no. You get the meat get the meat from the cow that's been only eating grass out in the pasture, and he can get around a while. He's been had a good life, and you know, he gets massages. I'm not saying he has to do Wagyu beef, but you know, he's listening to some good tunes. Maybe the farmer goes out and plays guitar for him or something. I don't know. You want meat from that cow. Okay, I'm about ready to wrap this one up. So that's, you know, my mentality with this sort of stuff. If I go to the farmer's market and I get mostly fruit or something else, I'm thinking about, yep, taste, thinking about durability, I'm thinking about price, I'm thinking about nutrition, I'm thinking about everything. And when the rubber meets the road, it is about price, nutrition, and taste. Durability is a little bit less of an issue, but yeah, those are some of the big boys for me. And convenience and things. Convenience is less of an issue, kind of, and some other things. But alright, I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.